Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Chef Marshall O'Brien here. Super excited to have you with Chef Marshall's Cooking with Confidence program. Every Thursday night, 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Got a great recipe for you, but before we get into that, please share this with a friend, share it with your families, share it with your friends' families. Let's get more and more people participating because everybody that does participate, they're loving it. You can also follow us on Instagram at Chef Marshall O'Brien. There you go. Lots of places you can find me. Twitter as well, LinkedIn as well. But anyways, we've got a great program. You know why we put this show together? 4 things. Number 1, we want to make a positive experience. We could have a lot more love and positivity in the world, so we got that. Number 2, we want to help you improve your skills and confidence in the kitchen. We want to help take some stress out of your life, providing great tasting, nourishing recipes with your meal planning. And finally, we want to help you learn and help you with your nourishing and teaching you how to nourish and not just feeding you. So that's what we do. Love the show. The feedback has been great. Now, every week people are participating. If you are not able to do this in real time, and you might be saying, hey, what's he talking about? When you sign up, chefmarshallobrien.com/show, it's free. You get the recipes, the shopping list in advance, and then you can get the groceries and participate. Cook with us. I got my fabulous Jana. Say hi. Good evening. Morning, I almost said.
Hello.
Yes, thank you. Jana is here to answer your questions or relay your questions. We'll answer. Alex Gabriel rocking on the production side. Thanks, guys. Great show tonight. Great recipe. Tangy sweet potato chili. Super versatile. You're going to love it. For this recipe, we are working with all sorts of ingredients. We have sweet potatoes. We have garbanzo beans, black beans, bell peppers, onions, little jalapeno, some thyme, chili powder, cumin, garlic, salt and pepper, little apple cider vinegar. Like I said, tangy sweet potato chili. We got some additional optional toppings of cilantro and lime. It's going to be good. So definitely I want you to try it. You know, as I was saying, if you can't make the show in real time, go to YouTube, Chef Marshall's Cooking with Confidence, and you can watch the replay. Can't answer your questions because it's a replay, but you can still learn how to make the recipe and follow along. So please go subscribe. The more subscribers we have, the more it will unlock production capabilities for us. We need the people. Sign up, please. Subscribe. All right. Awesome recipe. Can't wait to get into it.
Let's get into it.
Okay, let's get into it. I need to get out of my head and get into the kitchen. But first thing you want to make sure is you have a deep soup pot. You can call it a Dutch oven as the recipe says, soup pot, soup pan, but something that is going to retain the heat. And you want to be careful that, sometimes when you're cooking things low and slow, or depending on what the kind of food is, the pot, if you're not careful, can create hot spots and it can burn your pan. So that's a really good tip for you to be aware of. Make sure you have a pot that is going to have equal heat distribution for you. Want to make sure you have that. Questions, comments, thoughts as you are cooking with us tonight, or if you're just watching to figure out kind of how this works, put your courage in your fingertips or your thumbs if you're on your mobile, and leave us a message and we will respond right now. Ask a question, say hi, say bye, whatever it takes, but we want you to be part of this. My pot's getting hot. While my pot is warming up, you're going to want to you're going to want to get your sweet potatoes, your onions, and all that stuff ready. One thing that I always encourage people to do, we always talk about get the barriers out of the way, make life easier in the kitchen. If you like to cook, a lot of people have fun cooking with me in the kitchen, and so this is a fun little escape. Well, if you're not exactly on that mark, and that's okay. If that's not you, but you want to have great tasting, nourishing foods to work for you and not against you, and feel really good that you're providing great tasting, nourishing foods for your family, well, you want to make sure that you feel comfortable doing it, and I want to make sure that you forget. I have completely lost my train of thought, where my point was. So sorry. What was I just talking about?
I was texting.
You were texting.
I mean, not texting, just to say.
I absolutely had a point that I wanted to make, and I don't know what that point was now. And I guess that's okay, because that's sort of life. That's kind of life in the kitchen too. You make it work. And right now, what I'm making work is, I know what I was going to say. Right now, I'm making work is I'm cutting up these sweet potatoes. before I lost my train of thought, where I was trying to finish with is anything you can do in advance to make it easier for you. I know a lot of you love to watch and it's like fun, it's entertainment, you make this an evening experience, which is the whole point, which is awesome. Well, get things done in advance, whatever it takes like that. I want you to do that. So just get the barriers out of the way. Make it easy. Recipe calls for 4 cups of sweet potato. Now, some people ask, well, what's the difference between sweet potato and a yam? I was trying to incorporate the I am what I am bit, but that didn't really come out, and I forced it out right there. So forget that one. But the question is, what is the difference? And depends on who you ask. What I want you to focus on are the orange ones. And you can see, like if we get a nice shot here, like this, see how it has like a nice orange on here, thin skin. I'm not suggesting to go to the grocery store and start flicking the skin and seeing if it's orange or not, but you want the orange colored ones. Yams tend to be interchanged with sweet potatoes because like there's garnet yams, ruby yams, and there are white sweet potatoes. So just focus on the orange ones. Keep it simple. I pulled out a measuring cup because sometimes when we're getting used to preparing and grocery shopping, I say get 2 medium sweet potatoes, but you might only need 1.5, depending on how medium size that thing was. So just keep that in perspective as you're prepping. One thing I love to do is chop once, cook many times, meaning, I'm portioning out how much I need here, right? Well, if I have extra, put them in the great tip here. Put the extra chopped up yams in a container and pop it in the freezer. These things freeze great. And another tip is, let's say you're all on board doing this recipe, but you do not want to actually have to take the time and peel and chop, which would sort of defeat the purpose of one of our points is to help you with your skills, but hey, whatever it takes. You can buy them frozen, that's fine. Peeled, chopped, chunked, diced, there's different ways that they'll come in. I am cool with that. As I figured, we got about 3 cups here. I don't measure, you don't need to take the time per se to measure it out all the time, especially if you're comfortable. But if you're not comfortable with that, that's how it's going to help build that confidence and familiarity with what you are preparing. And you'll have a good visual when you go grocery shopping too as well. All right, we're going to add a little bit of olive oil to our pan. And I'm going to put the sweet potatoes in there. I'm going to get the onions going as well. I say in the recipe to do the onions, the sweet potatoes, the red bell pepper, and the jalapeno. Well, we want to get those all going at once, more or less. But at a minimum, start with the sweet potatoes because they're the most dense and they will take the longest. You might have looked at this recipe list and thought, well, there's a lot of ingredients. But as you actually looked at the list, you'll notice that there's a lot of familiar ingredients. And I make that point because we want you to feel that you can use these things in various ways over and over again. So just when you have these things, you don't want to have one random spice here and one random type of vinegar there that stays in your cupboard forever and ever and ever, because then you're just going to feel like, well, that was sort of a waste. So anyways, questions, comments, thoughts?
Liz says, I'm watching and learning. Shirley says hi.
We're going
Amy
to
says good evening.
Good evening. We're going to dice these up, and depending on the size of your onion, you can do this in a variety of ways. I made a parallel cut as you just saw, and now I'm just going to let the knife do the work and rock this knife back and forth. And we want about a cup of sweet potatoes. This is a great recipe that you can do in advance on the weekend and then just reheat, during the week. It's great, and it will hold quite a while as well. It'll hold quite a while, and especially if you freeze it, it's going to hold even longer. So definitely do that. One thing I love about this recipe, not only is it just exploding with flavor, boy, that sounds really like hardcore, but it really is exploding with flavor. Tons of flavor. But what else I really love about this is the health benefits of this dish. You think about in today's world, wintertime, pandemic, all this concern about people, immune system, and staying healthy and all that stuff, and minimizing complications if you get bugs. What's so cool about this recipe, and I'll talk some of the components and stuff. What's so cool about it is that This will help support your digestion, and it will help support your immune system. Make food work for you, folks, not against you. I always say this, how nourishing is different than eating, and why not have great tasting, nourishing foods that are going to, help you maybe have a little more energy so you can get through the day and not be a zombie by the end of the day. What about foods that will help your kids so they can focus a little bit better? I mean, there's so many benefits to having the right kinds of nourishing foods, and it has to taste good. If it doesn't taste good, ain't gonna happen.
Question.
Yes.
Can you make this in the crock pot?
Yes, that's a great question, and I have always done it this way, but I'm a big advocate of making things easy. Whether you're using an Instant Pot, we actually just did a webinar today using Instant Pots. It was pretty cool. Using a crock pot, this would work great. One thing I love about the crock pot, because you're cooking for an extended amount of time, those flavors will really develop and it'll taste incredible. So I think that's a great suggestion. Highly recommend doing that. I'm going to pop that heat up. It's really important, folks, when you are heating up your pot in your initial cooking, you don't want to crank it, because if you crank it, you can warp the pot, and then making the pot, obviously hard to sit on the stove top and creates hot spots and things like that. So I initially, warmed it up as I mentioned, and now I just turned it up some more. Questions, comments, thoughts? We have our peppers diced up. Going to add those. Then we're going to get on to the jalapeno pepper. When I do presentations or I'm doing my TV segments, half the time the information that I'm providing, I'm actually going to put some gloves on at this point. For half the participants, when it comes to like the health benefits and stuff, it's new information, and for the other half, it's kind of like just validating. And I really want you to, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed about having to make things perfect for yourself, but I do want you to really think about how, the right foods are really going to work for you. And a lot of times we just get into this habit where we eat what we eat because that's what we do. And you want to make sure that you are having foods that just, again, work for your stomach, and especially because a lot of people don't know this, unless you listen to me, that 70%, approximately 70% of your immune system is in your digestive tract. Kind of a big deal, meaning if I don't eat the right kinds of foods, my digestive system is going to be a mess, and as a result, that's going to affect my immune system. I would be curious, how many of you know that? Is that new information? Did you learn that and you're taking care of yourself? You don't have, I want to make sure you are. But we got the jalapenos here. Thank you so much, folks, that are tuning in. Appreciate that. Also, okay, let's talk just real quick. I won't get into, you want to make a comment?
No, Jackie has a question. Oh, just lost it.
I don't want to geek out about all the health benefits, but I just want you to keep in mind that when you have herbs and spices, and you have, slow carbohydrates like we have with the sweet potatoes and the beans, that's going to help support your digestive system to help keep your immune system strong. So a little more than I was going to share tonight, but I just want you to have great tasting foods and also have them be things that are really going to help you, especially in today's crazy world. So how was that, folks? I kind of just whipped through all that. I was so excited talking to you, but we got the sweet potatoes in there, we got the onions, we got the red bell pepper, and we got the jalapenos. Make sure that as you're preparing, and if you want to show step by step, most people just show their finished product. Take a picture, put it in the comments. We got lots of people doing that, and because we love to give you shout outs during the show. So please make sure that you do that.
Okay, question. If
Yes.
the veggies are looking a little dry, should we add more oil or a little water during the cooking?
My question for you is, are all of your vegetables in there? Because if it's a little, the moisture will come out from the onions and peppers, but if you're concerned about them burning, you might need to turn your heat down a little bit. You can always add a splash of water in there to try to add a little moisture, but if you look at mine, I did the oil, and It could be also the way the heat conducts on the pan that could affect how it cooks too. So if you feel, if you're a little apprehensive about that, go ahead and put a splash of water in there. I think that's fine. We just don't want to be simmering. We want to be sauteing to pull out those natural flavors. Hope I answered your question there. All right, that's looking good. We're going to let that cook for about 5 minutes, give or take. And then we are going to add our, you know what I didn't do? I didn't add the garlic. All right. So again, doing things in advance makes life a lot easier for you, but I want to show you all the tips. I always crush my garlic. However, there are various tools you can use. And I have a little tube. I should grab that. I know past episodes people have talked about that. And I have a yellow one, but I remember one person shared it, and they had a blue one, which was very, very cool. And you put the garlic in the tube, and then you roll the tube, and the tube sticks to the skin, pulls the skin right off. It's pretty slick. But I'm just smashing these up, and I think a couple episodes we talked about you could stick it in a bowl, enclose 2 bowls around the garlic cloves, and then shake it vigorously, and it will pull the skin. Of course, you have to smash it first initially, but then it'll pull the skin.
Mm-hmm. Question.
Yes.
Can we use adobo sauce instead of the jalapeno, or will that change the flavor too much?
Cooking is an art. All right? Baking's a science. I love that idea. Well, go ahead and experiment with it. That adobo sauce is going to accentuate the smokiness from your chili powder, and I think adobo sauce would be good. Certainly it is going to alter it, but it's going to complement it really nice. So I think that's a great idea. Part of this show, folks, is giving you opportunities to create and try new ways of preparing. So I love that idea. And that tells me that you're curious, and that tells me that you're getting confidence in your skills if that's your situation, that you want to try additions or try new spices and things like that. I think that's dynamite. All right.
All right. Cool. Well, let's see. I have had spicy jalapenos and jalapenos that didn't have that kick. Is there a way to tell ahead of time?
Boy, sometimes... you want to say something about that? Okay. Well, I can just tell you that a lot of times it's visual. I had one. I obviously chopped it up. Sometimes it could just be we've got a comment. You want to share on that?
My grandpa said that the more veins,
The more veins? Oh, it makes them less spicy?
it's hotter.
Oh, it's hotter. The more veins, the hotter. Okay, that doesn't quite answer your question, but that's good. Yeah, but that's good to know. And I was also going to say sometimes you might have, there's different varieties of sweet peppers, but they look hot because they're the shape of a chili, of a hot pepper. So you could have just had one that was actually a sweet bell pepper that was just, a little baby. So I don't know how else to explain that, but it could just be a premature sweet bell pepper.
Can she use green chili sauce? She
Yeah.
doesn't think it's too spicy.
Go for it. Definitely go for it. And speaking of go for it, at this point we're going to add some basil. I mentioned thyme. I actually meant basil there. We're going to add basil. We are going to add our chili powder, the cumin, and salt and pepper. Oh, if I can get the cumin in the bowl there. Sorry about that. And the salt and pepper. Herbs and spices not only make your food taste fantastic, smell wonderful, and look appealing, but they have a lot of health benefits too. Cumin, for example, and garlic can help relax, ease digestion, and help relax. The cumin and chili powder, for example, can help relax blood vessels. So, be anti-inflammatory. Make sure that you're getting herbs and spices into your cooking. Basil, oregano, rosemary, thyme. Awesome flavor and really helpful foods for you. Going to also add, for a little tang, this apple cider vinegar. The sharpness from the vinegar will dissipate as you cook it, which is something to keep in mind. So definitely, try that if you want to. I go a little conservative. It's a 1/4 cup for the vinegar. I wouldn't go more than that because it's going to be even more tangy, especially when you finish it with the lime at the very end. but it's going to have a really nice flavor, and that vinegar will also just accentuate the herbs and spices that you have in here. I love cooking with herbs and spices. I love these flavors. You know, you'll figure out for your palate, you know, how you're going to modify, adjust it, but ultimately, you know, make it fun for yourself so that you'll enjoy it, and whoever you're cooking for as well will enjoy it. All right, this is going to just for another few seconds. It's got brighten color. We're now going to add the tomatoes, and we're going to add the beans. I had canned beans, and when you're, you know, obviously at the grocery store, you're going to buy any kind of canned bean. I happen to have diced tomatoes here, okay? But 14.5-ounce can of beans is pretty standard. So when we say 2 cans of beans, it's like this it's like this size, all right? So we have our garbanzo beans, and we have our black beans that we put in there. Gonna stir that up. And then we're gonna add 2 cans of tomatoes, diced tomatoes, and we're going to keep the juices in there. I want to keep the juices because that's going to help extract the flavors off the bottom of the pan, and that's going to serve as the liquid. You know, we're not adding any other liquid. This is kind of a chunky stewy, and I wanted to just give you that visual again. I've had a couple people comment that they didn't know like what canned diced tomatoes looked like, and you know, I don't want to make any assumptions, so I just wanted to, you know, let you experience that for the. I know what they look like, but some people don't. So I want to make sure that you feel comfortable when you're grocery shopping. You know, part of that, some people get stressed when they're grocery shopping. That's why I give you those shopping lists in advance. That's why we give you the recipes in advance. And if you're tuning in right now saying, hey, that looks good, who's that guy talking? ChefMarshallO'Brien.com/show, so you can follow along in real time with us with the recipes and all that fun stuff. Wow, does this look beautiful or what?
It does.
Questions, comments?
Cindy says, I'm
Thoughts?
cooking it and smells great. I'm planning to serve it with plain yogurt, cheese, and avocado.
Man, Cindy, you know how to get it going. I love it. Way to go. That is awesome. And I like the combination of with the yogurt and the cheese. And what was the last part of that?
Avocado.
And with avocado. Very cool. Very cool. Love it. Okay, we're going to let that sit. And then thanks TV Magic, we're going to have it done. I want to, you know, in every show, we always want to just say, hey, way to go, folks, for participating. So I want to give some shout outs, starting with Angela Neeb. Beautiful dish last week, the zesty cilantro shrimp, well done. We've got Teresa Trapp, Hilda Brandt. OMG, so good. That is beautiful. Nice work, Teresa. Jackie Betzworth, one of the best meals so far. We will make it again, and that looks gorgeous. I can see why you loved it so much. Nice job. BK Mola, Jesse, zesty ginger shrimp. Not a fan of the cilantro, so we left it out. Hey, do what you got to do. Respect, love it. Shelly Olson, we split it, and we can have chicken instead of shrimp. Whatever it takes to get the job done. I love it. Nice job. Sandy Richmond, it was delicious. I cut mine back to 2 servings. We needed more ginger. I remember the ginger conversation with the tube ginger. Shortcuts aren't always better. Well, live and learn, right? Make it happen. Broccoli was a little too done. Trial and error. I love it. You have the courage to go try it, and that's what matters. Awesome. And Cindy says, was great. We'll be making this again. I'm going to try adding peppers next time. Great idea. And I'm so glad that you're here this week, too. Make sure, folks, if you want more help, grab our Smart Nutrition Cookbook Meal Planner. It's a great resource, chefmarshallobrien.com/shop. All right, this is looking good. Like I said, folks, thanks to TV Magic, and I actually got all caught up in talking that I didn't switch that out beforehand. All right, look at that. Isn't that amazing? It's done. It's ready to go. Nice and tender. It's kind of thick. It's hearty. You know, I would love to have some tortilla chips with this, but I think I'm probably good. I like Cindy's idea of doing a little bit of the yogurt and the avocado. It would probably be a better choice for myself. Okay, this looks absolutely wonderful. One thing I want you to think about, if you have young ones in your life, kids or grandkids, this would be an excellent recipe to have them help you with peeling and cutting and portioning. You know, all the recipes, for the most part, that we do for folks are going to lend a fun, collaborative environment with those that are in your home. So don't be afraid to get them involved. Get those kids involved. We want them to do that. I think that would be awesome. And speaking of awesome, before I say what's awesome, do you want to make a comment or?
Oh, Sharon just shared that she's planning on making it tomorrow. Finally made your skillet chickpeas with broccoli and goat cheese today. Turned out great.
Awesome. Way to go. If you can't, oh my gosh, this lime smells so good. Sorry, I got distracted by the aroma of the lime. Doesn't that smell good?
That's pretty good.
Doesn't that smell good? Cooking is all about the senses. It's all about awareness. You know, we eat with our eyes. We eat with our eyes, with how it looks, with our nose, with our mouth, with our ears, and so with the senses and just being really connected to the dishes is a good thing. I thought I would get away with that while you had a different camera on. Never mind. But anyways, it's all about the senses. And I'm sensing that this chili, because of TV Magic, is done. So what we'll do, folks, is you're going to serve it up as we just did. And then you can take, finish it off. You want to squeeze some lime in there, as I said. However you want to do that. Put a little lime on top. That looks great. We're going to take some cilantro. And I just love cilantro. If cilantro tastes like soap to you, that means you have an enzyme in your saliva that literally makes cilantro taste like soap. So don't use it unless you really want to use it. I don't have that enzyme, and no one in the house does, so we love cilantro. And we will use this and enjoy it. Okay, this looks great. I'm going to put some of that on top. I like the stems as well. The stems are very tender as you want. Slice up some more. Jalapenos. You want to put them on top. You're going to use some pickled jalapenos instead. Whatever you want to do. All right, this was great. I think it was easy. I can't wait for you to try it. Please, folks, make sure that you take pictures of your finished product. If you want to take action shots, folks are starting to show, like they're cooking and they're stirring in the kitchen. I love seeing it, and I want your pictures inspire other folks to want to participate as well. So please make sure that you do it. Really appreciate you cooking with us tonight. Again, make sure you follow us on Facebook, of course, on Instagram, Chef Marshall O'Brien, and on YouTube, Chef Marshall's Cooking with Confidence program. Couple tips, recap for tonight. We talked about using canned beans. 40% of that sodium you can rinse off if you use canned beans. Just told you that one right now. We talked about using the dry herbs and spices for helping ease digestion. So make sure to get those great tasting herbs and spices in your life. And this is a great recipe because it's going to help support your immune system. We also talked that you can use frozen, if you want, sweet potatoes that are already peeled and cut up to help you save some time. That's fine. Chop once, prep once, cook many times. So figure out where can you make things in advance to make life easier for us. We also mentioned it's really important that you have the right kind of pot so that you can make this without burning it. I want to make sure, like, anybody have issues with their pan that they use tonight, I want to know. Let me know, and maybe I can give you some insights on that. Shaking it up, last point, shaking it up maybe with some adobo sauce, some green chili sauce, trying, stretching, and that's the whole point of this show, is use the recipes as inspiration, and then you can get creative and move forward. And speaking of getting creative, if you want some more help, folks, use our Smart Nutrition Cookbook and Meal Planner. It's awesome. We got over 50 recipes, about over 50 recipes in there, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. Want to be a resource for you. Submit tonight's photo so we can give you a shout out next week. And next week, we're doing a salmon burger. It's going to be great. Rosemary salmon burger. Can't wait to do it. That's what we got. Next week, we'll see ya. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.